Hello, welcome to another episode of West Virginia Urban Gardener. And today we're going to do just a little short video on how to make your basil last longer and how to get the most out of your basil. And here we have three different types of basil. This is a spicy saber basil, and as you can see, it's got the kind of the saber leaves there. This is a black opal, and this is our sweet basil. And in this basil, it hasn't been pruned in quite a while, which you can see it's starting to bolt somewhat, and we can let that bolt and go to seed. That's one way to sort of prolong and expand our basil. But what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to get the most out of your basil of what you have. And we're going to do that in two different methods. One we're going to do by pruning, the other by propagation. Now with the pruning, the secret to pruning is finding the true leaves. And if you look here, there's a long stem, and you see these small little shoots that are coming out. And those are these little shoots here. These are the shoots that will grow off the main stem and actually expand the basil, and so it becomes a much bushier type basil instead of just one long stick. And as you can see some here in my black opal, that we have got just that, some really long basil, because it has not been pruned in a while. So a lot of this needs to be pruned. We're not going to prune all of that today, but I will show you just a few areas how we do that. So we looked here and we saw, well, this is two true leaves or shoots here, and we have two true leaves here. So the two things we need are the true leaves, which are here, and the side shoots, which are here. And you can see it up here as well. You can trim this down as low or as high as you want your plant to be. Now I like the kind of height that I have here with the plants. I don't want it down too low. So I'm going to pick this area here where I have two side shoots and two true leaves. And I'm going to cut the top of that and prune the top of that basil off. Now this basil you can use. This, given time, usually takes at least a couple weeks to grow that basil out, and those side shoots will produce more leaves. With a black opal, you can see that a little clearer. Here you can see true leaves, and the tomato got in there. You can see true leaves all the way down to the base of the stem, and our side shoots are these little areas here. Now, depending on the height that I want for this, I can cut this at any point and it will branch out from that. Again, I like the height here, so I'm going to trim that top here. I'm going to leave just a few centimeters of stem, or a little less than an inch of stem, and to cut that top off. And again, you can trim all of these and it will produce much more basil. You'll get the most out of your basil plants. That's the first way to expand and to make the most of your basil. Another method is what's called propagation. Now, propagation simply means that you're growing a plant from the parent plant. Now this is the parent plant. And what you need from the parent plant is you need a long stem with at least two true leaves. And an example of that is here. If we look at this segment of the black opal, we can see here where this has been actually pruned before. You see, there's our area where we cut the top, and look, we've grown several. We've grown 2 off of there and at least another 2 down here. So these are actually stems that can become and propagate to become new plants. So we simply cut a long stem, and you need at least about 1 inch or 2 of stem, and we'll place that stem into the water. And we can do that with as many plants as we want to, and this will actually produce a new plant. It may take up to around 2 to 4 weeks to grow the roots, and you need to change the water at least every other day. It needs very clean water constantly. You have a choice that you can add add hormones to it to promote root growth, and that's purely optional. Or you can just simply put the plant into the water and watch the roots grow into a new plant, and that's called propagation because we're propagating from the parent plant. So to expand and make the most of your basil, there are a few pruning tips and propagation tips to allow you to get the most out of your basil. So until next time, happy gardening from West Virginia Urban Gardener. And here we can start to see some of the root development in our propagation of our basil. And you can see the water's just a little bit cloudy, so certainly time for a change. And here you can see a little bit better there. Again, these were all just propagated from the parent plant. Our black opal, and finally our third. You can start to see these, certainly start to see the roots here develop at the bottom and on the sides here. And we will check back on that later on as this growth process continues, and then we'll replant it. We'll try to follow that all the way through, and you can follow along with us. See you on the next clip. Hi, welcome back to West Virginia Urban Gardener, and this is the last installment of our propagation process of our basil. So when we started out, as you view the other videos, we started with a simple stem, some true leaves, a little water in a jar, and our goal was to produce a plant. And about 2 weeks later, 2.5 weeks later, we have had some growth of our plant. As you look here, this is our saber basil. As you can see, the root system is very strong. Our sweet basil with its extensive root. And finally, our black opal. Now these plants can now be taken out with a nice strong root system, as you can see here, and we have actually got a basil plant. So if you want to propagate, expand your basil by propagation or by pruning, just view the 2 videos. But it's a nice way to keep your basil growing and get more bang for your basil. So until next time, happy gardening from West Virginia Urban Gardener.